Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. Part 14. Mutiny. We put all the food in my cave. It was safe there. Then the Spanish and Friday's father could go back. They could bring the other men here. We gave them food and 4 guns in case they were attacked again. Then they took the canoe and they went away. 2 days passed since they left, when something unexpected happened. I was woken up by Friday at about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Are they here?
I asked Friday. He said,
Not yet, but somebody else is here. I saw a boat.
I went to the top of the nearest hill. I saw the boat. It was clear that these people weren't the friends who we expected. The boat came from a completely different direction. I could also see a ship. I knew this shape. The ship was English. I was confused. On the one hand, I was happy to see Englishmen after 27 years on the island. On the other hand, I was concerned because the island was quite out of the way of any English ship. Recently, there were no storms which could have taken them here. Perhaps they were pirates or murderers and were hiding here. All this made me very cautious. Friday and I remained hiding, observing them for a while. The boat approached the beach, and I counted 11 men. They were all Englishmen. 3 of the men had hands tied together. The 8 other men took them to the beach. 2 prisoners were calm, but the 3rd prisoner tried to say something. He looked very scared. He asked the man in the boat for something. On seeing this, Friday turned to me and told me that it seemed Englishmen were also eating people. I told him that they didn't have the slightest intention of eating them. Instead, I thought they were going to shoot them. After a while, I noticed this wasn't the case. The people from the boat went exploring the island, while the 3 tied prisoners were sitting at the beach with 2 men as guards. They looked desperate. The situation made me think of my own arrival on the island. Just like those prisoners, I felt lost at first. Soon, the tide was low, and the boats they came with were stuck in the sand. They couldn't move it, so I heard them shout to each other that they would leave with the next tide. This gave me 10 hours. The night was approaching, so we would get an opportunity to go near them and overhear their conversations. Now I was sure they came here to leave those 3 men here as a punishment. Friday and I stayed hidden until dark. I noticed the men who stood guard were asleep, and the 3 prisoners were sitting under a tree quite close to us. It seems to me they were also out of sight from the other sailors, so I could approach them without being seen. I went to them with Friday following closely behind me. When we were very close to them, I spoke quietly to them. We were still hidden behind the trees, and they couldn't see us. When they heard my voice, they couldn't believe somebody spoke English to them from the dark forest.
What was that?
Asked one of the men.
I heard something. I heard a tree speak.
Answered the other.
But it is impossible. A tree can't speak English.
Yes, you heard something, but it isn't a tree.
I said quietly.
My name is Robinson Crusoe. I am an Englishman.
I live on this island. I will help you if you tell me who you are.
After the initial shock was over, one of them answered my questions. He was the captain of the ship, but some of the sailors started a mutiny. He, his assistant, and the passenger were taken prisoners. The other sailors were going to leave them on this island to starve them to death. The captain told me that there were only 2 dangerous sailors who took control over the others in this group. If the leaders were captured, the rest would return under the command of the captain. I said,
I am willing to help you, but I have one condition. I want full control over the ship if we manage to get it back.
The captain and the other 2 prisoners agreed, and they gave me full control over the ship and over their lives. We freed the prisoners, then we went back to the forest. I gave them guns, and we started to plan the attack. In the middle of our conversation, we noticed that the sailors who stood guard were woken up. They stood up. They shouted to 3 other men who were near to them. At that moment, we shot the guards. Then the captain spoke to the 3 other men. He told them to be loyal to him and help him get back to the ship. They agreed, and we tied them and left them on the beach. We hid our 6 prisoners in the forest. Then I and the captain had finally time to talk to each other. I told him my story, and he was shocked. He also thanked me a lot for my help. He and his 2 friends were hungry, so we went to my house, where I showed them what I built for myself during my stay on the island. They were amazed by all the things which I had. The 3 other men who heard the shots came back. They could see the situation changed. We were 5. We had a lot of guns. The situation was bad for them. They also agreed to be loyal to the captain. We tied these men too. However, we didn't have much time to explore my inventions, because we had to plan how to get the ship back. There were 16 people on board, and we were only 5. First, we decided to take everything out of the boat. We thought the sailors could send another boat to the island if the men from the first boat didn't come back with the next high tide. In the morning, we heard the ship fire a gun as a signal for the boats to return. After a while, the ship fired a few times again. There was no response. Then we noticed that the sailors took another boat and went to the beach. Through my telescope, I could see 8 men rowing, and they were all armed. We could observe the boat approach us, and the captain recognized the sailors. He knew that 6 of them were still faithful to him, but there was also the man who started the mutiny. The captain feared that the leader of the mutiny and the other men in the boat would be difficult to defeat. But I told him that we had a good chance of winning, but we had to act quickly. The captain trusted 2 of our prisoners. They promised to fight on our side, so we gave them weapons. Prepared this way, with 7 men ready to fight on our side, we expected the arrival of the boat. As soon as it reached the beach, the men jumped out of it and pulled it up the beach. Then they ran to the other boat and were surprised to see it empty. They tried to call their friends. They shouted their names. Then they shot in the air, but it was all useless because nobody shouted back. This surprised the newly arrived sailors even more, and they began putting the boat in the water again. It seems they wanted to go back to the ship to inform the others that some accident happened with the sailors in the first boat. Observing all this, the captain got scared they would go back to the ship and leave the island altogether. Luckily, during a few seconds, the sailors dropped this idea. Now they left 3 men in the boat, and the others went to the forest to look for their friends. Thank you for watching. This is the end of part 14. To be continued in part 15. If you like this story, please like, share, and subscribe. See you then.